Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We're happy to have on the show with us Pro Kids First Tee San Diego. Joining us is Jennifer Pillsbury, the CEO and Executive Director. How you doing there, Jennifer?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having us.
How long have you been with Pro Kids?
I'm fairly new. I've been there since January of this year.
So you're a veteran of about 4 months.
Absolutely.
Joined by one of your board members, Roberto Rodriguez. How you doing, Roberto?
Doing great. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming in. How long have you been on the board?
I've been on the board for going on 2 years now.
2 years? What got you interested in Pro Kids First Tee?
You know, I got involved about 20 years ago as a young middle schooler growing up in City Heights. So I am from the community.
Man Middle School?
Man Middle School,
okay.
Right down the street, about a mile and a half walk over to Pro Kids. So very well acquainted with the community here.
And then did you go to Crawford?
I did not.
Okay.
Part of that was because of an opportunity that Pro Kids afforded, which was teaching me about other school options around the city. One of them was Francis Parker High School, where
nice.
I was very lucky to attend for high school.
Right. A billion years ago, I used to work for San Diego Unified and did a lot of work with all those schools in that area as well. Jennifer, where were you before Pro Kids?
I have a big background with the YMCA, and I was also at the Water Conservation Garden.
So you with the which one?
Lots of nonprofits.
The big YMCA over there. The YMCA of San Diego County, or
I was with the YMCA of San Diego County, and my claim to fame is I got to build the McGrath YMCA from the ground up. So it was handed.
It's a great YMCA.
There,
so did you work with my good friend Sid Vivek?
Yes, I did.
Very, very good.
Love Sid.
Yes. And we love featuring the YMCA as well. Talk about the mission of Pro Kids.
Well, the mission of Pro Kids is just incredibly special. It's to challenge underserved youth to excel in life through promoting character values, life skills, all through education and the game of golf. So what could be better?
Right. So who's the one who came up with this idea of we're going to do this through golf? Was that Ernie Wright?
That was Ernie Wright. Yes, our founder back in 1994. We're getting ready to celebrate our 30th anniversary. Very excited.
Very, very excited about that. So how does it work? Is it kids that are underrepresented and they go to, are you guys doing your stuff at Kalina Park? Is that where you
Yes,
do it? Okay.
we actually have two locations now. So one at Kalina Park. They're right in the heart of San Diego in City Heights.
It is.
And then a new one that opened about 10 years ago in Oceanside off Douglas Drive.
Oh, it is? Okay. So then tell me how the process works. Roberto was at Man Middle School. And how did you stumble onto this, by the way?
I would say I had a pretty typical path, as you would see from a lot of the kids in City Heights participating in Pro Kids. Yeah. I was someone that had a lot of energy, wanted to get involved in something beyond school. Not a lot of great options when you think about the socioeconomic factors in City Heights. So found out about this gem through their community outreach program coming over to Horseman Middle. And I think when I learned that there was golf and that for someone that was low income like myself, that it could be free, I think that immediately had me hooked, and they couldn't lose me after that. I probably spent about 6 days a week for the next 2 years playing golf and basically living at the City Heights facility after school.
Right. I didn't see your name in the Masters lineup this week, right?
We like to say that we promote life skills and education through the game of golf, and sometimes you become a pretty okay golfer as a result of that.
I'm sure you're a very okay golfer. Have you ever swung a golf ball before you went to Pro Kids?
Only in my head. I grew up in Mexico under very tough economic circumstances.
Sure.
Golf was not anywhere near our vocabulary, but we did have a very famous golfer, Lorena Ochoa. So in the news you'd see flashes of a golf swing. So I think that always planted a seed, and why I jumped on it so quickly once the opportunity came in San Diego when I moved here.
Well, and good for you to continue now being a leader and being on the board. That just must be just wonderful for you. Jennifer, someone who certainly went through it as a kid and now is giving back in this area. Do you golf at all?
I'm actually in lessons at our private golf course in Oceanside. So
Okay.
I do come from a golfing family, though. My parents and my
really?
son, and yes.
Okay, very, very good. So talk about what the experience looks like. How many kids go through this each year? And are you taking kids also up in Oceanside area in this middle school? Do they start at middle school? How does that work?
Yes. So they start in second grade, and
Second
we
grade,
like
okay,
to keep
very
them
good.
all the way through high school. That's
Okay,
the goal. And
right.
then on to their further education through college, if that's where they choose to go. We support them through all of that. We serve about 800 kids between both locations
fantastic.
annually. And really, we do outreach, and we go into the schools and we provide a clinic and expose kids to the game of golf to kind of get them hooked in and then bring them into our facilities.
Right. So are they doing all this during the school year after school? And then I know they work on their studies, or you help them with, some of the schoolwork they're doing as well. When do they actually play golf? Is it right after school?
So they come to us right after school. We
Right.
actually have 3 vans. And
Okay.
so they start the day with a snack because everybody's always hungry right after school.
Of course.
And then they split into different groups. So based on the game plan of the day, they'll either start with golf or they'll do some fun character building activities and mentorship if they need some tutoring help with their
Sure.
schooling. So it just depends on the day. They're
Right.
there till about 6.
Right. And then do you provide them with the clubs, with, the balls, the, golf, everything else?
Yep, we provide everything from head to toe. They get clubs, balls, any equipment they need, all of the hands-on.
And do they use it on site? They don't take it home with them. Is that correct?
Right, they generally leave it on site.
Leave it on site.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Now, obviously, if you start in second grade, you're using a different club, probably size club than you are in high school and all this. How easy, Roberto, was it for you to pick up the game?
For me, it was extremely easy because I had very approachable golf coaches through Pro Kids. And so for me, it wasn't an intimidating
Right.
Exercise at all. And the equipment part of it was always a concern for me going into it. But very lucky that, Pro Kids is known in the community, especially amongst the golf community. So getting donations from folks that have lightly used clubs, or even sometimes the manufacturers themselves, when they have oversupply of certain clubs, getting those donations, they find their way to us. And usually you earn that through, doing community service, doing other activities that show that you're not doing this as a 2-week fad, that you're going to be around and continue to take advantage of the program. And so through that, I was able to get clubs. I don't think I bought clubs until I had been playing golf for 5 or 6 years up until that point. So all through my first early learnings, and I was a plus handicap at some point, so I did know how to swing once in the past, but all that was basically through hand-me-down clubs. And so
You still play?
when I can. Usually that means the charity golf tour here in San Diego,
100%.
depending the organization.
Do a little bit of a scramble. Yeah, I understand that. I've been lucky, and when I ran community and public relations, and that's how I got to know Christine Barbara, former colleague, now running marketing communications and for you folks at Pro Kids. We got to sponsor a lot of golf tournaments, and so that's how I would play in these. But my brother works up at Cypress, up in Pebble, exactly, at Pebble Beach. It's like the Masters. It's a tough course to get on. So I've played it a few times. I don't keep score. I just keep score of how many golf balls I lose. But it's a great thing. Talk about, I'll start with you on this, Jennifer. We're talking to Jennifer Pillsbury. She was the CEO, Executive Director of Pro Kids First Tee, joined by her colleague, Roberto Rodriguez, the board member, and a Pro Kids kid, I guess. So that's how I'd say it in this aspect when he was at Mann Middle School. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We're the nation's longest running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, just doing great things for more than 60 years. It's so much of it, I think you were talking about, Jennifer, and I know you feel this way too, Roberto, is getting the kids in a safe place and a spot where I'm going to have fun. I'm going to be revered. I'm going to be loved. I'm going to be, respected and so forth. Talk about how important that is.
It's just so important for families today to have a safe place for their kids to go that's affordable. Many families are working multiple jobs. So their kids are oftentimes left home alone with no one to be there with them.
Right.
And so to have pro kids and be able to get the kids comfortable and safe and really thriving in the community setting, and they begin to improve their grades, their confidence, all of their life skills. It's just very important.
Yeah, I was going to say, and Roberto, and you're certainly very passionate about this, is that when you go through this path, whether it's at the golf and then you're getting the instruction and people that are actually care about you and actually shocking, they listen to you, right? Talk about how important that is as you go further into your career yourself.
It was critical then. It's critical now. Sharing a little bit about what I do now, I invest in early stage healthcare companies from the lens of those that are meeting the 80% of social determinants of health that definitely determine health outcomes, but are outside of the control of the clinician. And how I stumbled upon that path was
interesting
through meeting mentors, through pro kids who worked in healthcare, worked in finance, that, a little bit by happenstance, but also I think very, very much intentional by, the pro kid staff of putting me in front of the right people that could plant those seeds, make those introductions initially that would eventually lead to internships, would eventually lead to me being able to go to Columbia University as the first in my family go to college. And
that's a heck of a college to go be your first. That's fantastic.
We had a great time in New York and worked in Silicon Valley for about 5 years in healthcare and early stage venture, and a lot of that was definitely because of the mentors and the guidance that I had. A lot of those relationships going back to my early days at Pro Kids, and beyond guidance, some of these folks truly do become family. One of my coaches was in my wedding, as were two of my early mentors and big sponsors of the program. And so the relationships that you build extend well beyond the on-site, activities. Yeah,
we come back from break. We're going to talk more about that because certainly it takes a lot more than that. And it takes confidence, and it's the confidence that you learned as you got through the Pro Kids experience. It's one thing to be introduced to these people. Now, do you take it a step further? And you obviously have. So we'll chat about that when we come back from break, and then we always save time. Jennifer and Roberto, that at the second half of the show, what can our listeners do to support your efforts? Can they donate? Can they volunteer? Can they give lessons? Everything in between. So be thinking about that as well. Okay.
Great.
Very good. We're going to be right back with Jennifer Pillsbury, CEO and Executive Director of Pro Kids First Tee San Diego, joined by her colleague, Roberto Rodriguez. He's the board member for Pro Kids, was a Pro Kids kid, so to speak, when he was at Middle School. I'm Drew Schlosberg, as you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for more than 60 years, just doing great things, raising the bar for so many people in different areas in San Diego County, whether it's literacy, whether it's health, whether it's art and so forth. They've just been a great community leader, and we're honored to have them as a sponsor of the show. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
All I'm Drew Schlosberg with Cloudcast Media. You're listening to Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community. A show brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for more than 6 decades, doing great things here in San Diego. So honored to have in the studio with us today our friends from Pro Kids First Tee San Diego, Jennifer Pillsbury. She's the CEO and Executive Director, joined by one of her board members, Roberto Rodriguez, who was also a First Kid. I think we're coming up with a new name for this. Probably something better than Roberto. Please correct me.
Works for me.
This. Okay, I appreciate that. Jennifer, we talked about right before the break, here is Roberto, what he's learned. Obviously, he took the bull by the horns, got accepted to Columbia. What a great university, to say the least. And now is, in this very, very specialized, field that he's doing. But gives all the credit to what's happened at, Pro Kids First Tee. Talk about how it's a confidence builder when you go through what you folks do with the kids.
Well, first of all, the game of golf builds your confidence naturally because there's never the perfect shot and it's never going to be the same shot. So it teaches you patience and trust along the way.
Right.
But the great thing about Pro Kids is we build the confidence and teach kids that their worth is there and that the sky is the limit. And if we can get them to high school, then we do college tours and provide all that exposure for them to go into different colleges and see that that's a possibility for them and get them excited about it. We help with SAT tests. We help fill out the college applications, the financial aid applications, and we actually provide scholarships right out of Pro Kids that we fundraise for to these kids to get them through college.
That's right. So the funding comes from individual donations, comes from sponsorships. Does it come from grants? Does it come from...
All of the above, yep.
Yeah,
Sponsorships, individual gifts, corporations, and grant funding.
Right. Now, do you have events that you put on, annual events?
We do. We actually just wrapped up our women's golf tournament.
Right.
And coming up in September, on September 9th, is our Pro Kids Golf Invitational, and that's going to be at the San Diego Country Club. Very exciting. That's on September 9th. And then our big gala, which raises almost $800,000 annually, is coming up at the Hilton Torrey Pines on November 16th.
Right. We'll make sure we have you folks back on before that, of course, to shout out both of those events, especially the one in November as well. So what advice would you give, Roberto, to somebody who's sort of on the fence of, should I go through Pro Kids? Besides the fact you probably would grab them and say, now listen here, you're going to be doing this. Tell me what you would say.
I think we try to find those kids, right? We try to identify those kids that are going to take advantage of everything that Pro Kids has to offer. But I think something that I've learned throughout my life, not just at Pro Kids, but otherwise, is you never know until you try it, right? And I had a lot of hesitation at first about, walking into a place that for me indicated a lot of privilege. Maybe I don't belong as someone that just came to the country. I was recently new to the country from Mexico. Right. I was, undocumented, not a lot of support at home, living in unusual circumstances. And so you don't think you belong and you prove yourself wrong from day one. And to me, that can be a very inspiring and confidence building journey. And so to anyone that's on the, sort of on the border of wanting to try it, just go for it. You just never know what you're going to learn about yourself more than anything.
Well, I mean, you are absolutely a poster child and an inspiration in so many different ways on this, certainly about, where you came from and what you're doing now. And it's something that we talk about quite a bit on our show when we have educators on, and you certainly are educators, to say the least. You work very closely in the education space. Those people that are great teachers, whether they're actually in the K-12 classroom or college, or doing what you're doing, believe that every kid can succeed, and believe that every kid has it within him and her to do this aspect of it. And I think it is so important to hear these stories of like yours, Roberto, when people think, well, that could happen to Roberto, but it can't happen to me. Well, tell me why it can't happen. It can happen to anyone. Is that correct?
It can happen to anyone. And I think what's been great about me staying involved is now 20 years later, I get to see some of those success stories blossoming and happening right in front of my, very own eyes, sometimes from folks that, 10, 15-year-old kids that sometimes don't think they can do it. And you walk through them in exactly how you did it and how unrealistic that felt for you and what a pie in the sky goal that really looked like from your perspective. But then you walk them through every practical step and how sequentially you can actually get there. And you start seeing that, those eyes really light up. And I think for me, that's why I stay involved, trying to find, other kids like me, whether a girl or a boy in City Heights or in Oceanside, that is looking for a place to, put all their positive energy to work. I think golf can be a good place for that.
No, it really is. And another thing that, golf will teach you, and you guys know this so well, and I was honored to know Ernie pretty well. We worked together when we used to sponsor a lot of the pro kids stuff. There's not a sport that is like a poster child for sportsmanship than golf. Because you are sort of managing yourself. You call yourself when the ball moved and you actually did it. You're the ones who are calling penalties on yourself. It's a gentlewoman and a gentleman's game. And talk about that. That is so big and so part of what you guys do, Jennifer.
It is. And we really just try to remove all barriers from anybody just trying to jump in with 2 feet. So we, again, provide the equipment. We provide the financial support. And of course, the encouragement and the values and the welcoming feel is really what Pro Kids does for everybody.
And that sportsmanship is really important, Roberto, was it not?
It was very critically important for my development because I saw everything that was going well on the golf course rub off in other parts of life. I think at the beginning of my golf journey, I would see myself reflected on the golf course, right? Let's say I was, facing a tough lie in a bunker greenside. An older self would have been very quick to just get up to the ball, hit it, try to get the hole over as quickly as I could, just move on, right? Whereas someone that's a more experienced golfer now, I take my time, I try to assess options, I try not to, even let my experience be defined by my result, and those are all things that are character building, lessons that I learned from golf early on.
Yeah, well, patience is one of them. And knowing that it's okay to take a 5. Don't try to sit there and hit the hero shot. My brother used to always laugh at me and say, really, you're trying to hit a shot a pro can't do in between these trees? Are you kidding me? You're going to get a snowman, which, anyone who's a golfer knows that's an 8. Just chip out, take your bogey, and be happy with it. And of course, no, I have to go between the trees, and then there was my 8, in all that aspect of it. But in all seriousness, it does teach you all about life skills that you have certainly used in your career. Roberto, what can we do to support your efforts?
We always can use all kinds of support. So we have sponsorship opportunity for our events. We have naming opportunities at both of our golf courses that are available. We're always looking for volunteers. If you are a golfer and you want to come out and help our kids, we always welcome volunteers in many capacities. And of course, any monetary donations, direct donations, have the greatest impact for our organization to reach more children and just get out there and get them to us is most important.
What's the website?
First Tee, SanDiegoFirstTee.com.
Right. And so look at these couple events that are coming up. One in September is coming up, and of course the big one in November as well. And we'll look forward to having you come back on. Roberto, any final comments?
Just a quick shout out to your brother because just talking about sportsmanship, there's no better treat for a Pro Kids member than the annual trip that we get to partake on, which is heading up to Cypress Point and
oh my goodness,
playing what is, to some acknowledge it as the best golf course in the world.
100%.
And be able to, not only play it, but belong there. You have to have very specific mannerisms to belong in any golf course, especially in Cyprus. So Pro Kids definitely trained us right to be able to go up there and enjoy what is oftentimes a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
It is a lifetime opportunity. So you've golfed it, right, at Cyprus?
Twice, thankfully.
Have you done it 16? What did you get on 16?
I have bogeyed twice.
That's good. So for our listeners, there are some iconic holes in golf courses. Amen Corner up in Augusta and so forth, and Road Hole, I think, at St. Andrews. But in Cyprus, it's the 16th hole, 240 yards over water. So quick story, I'll bore our listeners to death, like I do every day anyway, is you're supposed to hit everything you have because it's going over water into the wind. And but I, like an idiot, I did my 3-wood and I was banana, slicing, which I never do the whole day. So I said, okay, I'll just aim straight and then it'll go to right onto the green. Now I hit for the first time in 15 holes, I hit the ball straight, over water, over the fairway, into the sand. I go, are you kidding me? All right. I finally got it. It only took me 15 holes. Now I'm going to aim straight, banana slice into the water. My brother just walks over, and if you're a golfer, you'll appreciate this, hands me the 5-iron, just hit this, and then chip, and then putt. Hit it 180, chipped within 3 feet, and putted. Of course, it's a 7, but and I just laughed. And you'll know this, Roberto, you're a good golfer. And anyone who can bogey 16, that is not easy to do. And it's a gorgeous course, is it not?
It's an amazing golf course, and it's incredible how I still remember that I bogeyed both times. And first time I did take that 5-iron, listened to the caddy, chipped it to about 10 feet, 2-putted, unfortunately. Second time, though, I was a little bit older, a little bit stronger, so hit the green and 3-putted from about 15 feet, which I still will never forget.
Oh, my goodness. So, yes, you got 15 feet, right? You probably couldn't believe you're that close.
No, it was one of the best shots I've ever hit.
Exactly.
Well, that means after that.
Next time, golf. Next time you're going to hit it in and be a birdie. Roberto Rodriguez, what an absolute joy having you on board, member for Pro Kids First Tee San Diego. Jennifer, we'll look forward to having you and Roberto back on as we talk about some of your upcoming events, and just wish you nothing but great success moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the time.
You bet. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, doing great things for us folk who live here in San Diego County. Hope you enjoyed the show.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.